All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you aboard to hour number 2. Of course, we've been talking mostly about the whole Sony situation and the press conference given by the president earlier today. Let's change topics just a bit. We welcome in columnist for TheHill.com, Brent Budowsky. Good to have you back, sir.
Good to be back, of course.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, so you wrote a very interesting piece, Get Ready for Elizabeth. Of course, we're talking about Elizabeth Warren. So you think that she's going to run?
I think there's a chance. I put the chance at about 40%. And by the way, I want to agree with everybody who said it was ridiculous for Sony to cancel the movie. We should stop being the coward nation, and we should have gone ahead.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. All right, let's start there. Yeah, and even the president. I was impressed that the president, although he threw Sony under the bus a little, he said they should have talked to me. I mean, you know, it would have just been just as easy for the president to get on the phone and call the victim of a major cyber attack and say, hey, I want to talk to you, but I guess, you know, he was too busy on the golf course or something.
Yeah, well, the fact is they shouldn't need to talk to him. Terrorists don't tell us what kind of movies we're going to run, period.
No, that's very true. What about the fact that the president says North Korea acted alone? Do you buy that?
I think that's certainly possible. The North Koreans are not nice guys. They are not our friends. They are totally capable of doing this. The bigger issue is we should not be canceling movies, letting the North Koreans or anybody else determine what's going to be on our television, in our theaters, or anything else. I disagree with the movie theaters for canceling it. I disagree with Sony for pulling it back. I think we have to stop kowtowing, backing off, and being afraid in this country. The heck with it. We're going to do our movies as we choose, and not the North Koreans or ISIS or Al-Qaeda or anybody else has a thing to say about it. It would have been fine if they talked to the president. They didn't need to talk to the president.
Right. And of course, you know, this opens up the whole, some call it slippery slope, Pandora's box. I mean, all kinds of possibilities. Hey, if you have a female candidate for president, ISIS or Al-Qaeda will say, we're going to blow you up. Or, hey, if you say the national anthem before the Super Bowl, we're going to shoot everybody when they come out of the Super Bowl. I mean, you know, where does it stop?
It doesn't stop. That's why we have to stop it now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Elizabeth Warren. So you give it a 40% chance. There were those, Dana Milbank, who I spoke with, said he doesn't think she's going to run. She doesn't have the infrastructure in place. She's not pursuing the infrastructure, and that she's more devoted to her ideology than Obama. But she would rather also run be in charge of a cause or be in charge of a movement than be president. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't go as far as that. You just did in the news segment a story about a case involving bondage and domination. What we saw in Washington in the last week was bondage and domination by big banks who got something through that would have legalized derivative trading that would have been high risk and under the bailouts. The trading is fine. The bailout is bad. Elizabeth Warren opposes the bailout, opposes derivative trading where the profits are kept by the Wall Street firms, which I think is fine, and Elizabeth thinks it's fine, but the losses could be taken by the taxpayer. That's not fine, and that's not capitalism. And I think Obama was wrong, Republicans were wrong, the Democrats who supported it were wrong, and I think there's a lot of people out in America, some of whom are progressive populist liberals, including myself. Some of them are Tea Party supporters. We are fed up with crony capitalism. We're fed up with lobbyists and insiders writing legislation. We're fed up with bondage and domination by banks of Washington. And to the degree that Elizabeth Warren stands for those things on the Democratic side, opposing that kind of action, I think she'll be very popular. I would like to see Hillary Clinton take a stronger position, and if she does, she'll be popular, and if she doesn't, she won't.
Yeah, now, but although Hillary could say things like Hillary blurted out corporations don't create jobs, and the private sector doesn't create jobs, that was to sound more Warren-esque, I guess.
Yeah, it was, but I would have, first of all, that was not the brightest thing ever said. I don't like that kind of talk. I don't think that says what needs to be said. I would have been much happier if Hillary Clinton had spoken out, which she didn't do in the last week. Democrats around America are thrilled to have Elizabeth Warren speaking what they consider truth to power, speaking on behalf of consumers and workers. I think to some degree, as a Democrat, I think Hillary does too, but I think she should do much more of that, and I think she should have done it this last week. And I think it's outrageous that President Obama and Democratic leaders joined with Republican leaders and supported what was an outrage. We had a scandal and a crisis in banking that almost destroyed our country, and we never.
Brent, I got to go, but I do love. I love the bondage. I love the bondage analogy. Thanks for joining us, Brent. Always good to talk to you. Thank you. I'm up against a hard break. Hank Scheinkampf is next, folks. Don't go away.